Thank you. This is my first talk, I think, ever. Anyways, so I've got this language learning idea that I'm going to be using Elixir to try to implement and start a commercial product here. But so back in 1968, this language teacher had this crazy idea of a different way to learn languages. And what he decided to do was take his French class and give them a text in English and then change words every so often to French so that they could read and understand, and then they would have a French word in context to try to help them understand and be able to read more quickly. So to date, nobody's widely commercialized this, so I'm kind of interested in the idea. If you look up here, we've got, that's Bruce Tate's training notes. Here we go. So I've got two input sentences. This is English and Spanish, and then there's a mapping between them. And actually, machine translation tools, do I need to make that bigger? I'm sorry. Let's see if I can. How's that? Okay, so we got English and Spanish here, and then a mapping between them. And this I just pulled out of machine translation tools actually do this already automatically for you. And they can do it without even knowing what languages they're reading. If you give it two inputs of two languages that are large enough to give you some machine learning, it'll map which words go together. And if we see a graph representation of that, right here. So this is just a graph that shows how the words map together, and you notice there's some inconsistencies, like, for example, little lamb maps to one word in Spanish, and then at the end of the sentence here, we also see snow mapping to two words in Spanish. And so there's some problems to figure out still, but basically the idea is to, switch between the words. So you could, you could pick your path here. So Mary had a little Spanish word for lamb, and maybe at the very end, which is corderito, if you're interested, and whose fleece was white as la nieve. So kind of playing around with it a little bit. But right now I've got a little script that's working. It'll take these two inputs that I mentioned. It'll take an English and Spanish text and a mapping that's already been pre-generated and create that graph. So that's all I got. Thank you.